Hare Krishna. Good morning, dear devotees. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. We will continue on the last verse. We didn't finish the commentary, and we'll go back to the verse that we spoke about last time. And Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bihar Bhagavatamrita, Volume 2, Chapter 4, texts 155 through 157. Yata Dharalambana Ratna Bhuta Narayano Sausa Naro Tadata Shridamadagnya Kapila Deyopi Ye Kautukachcha Pratima Sarupaha Ye Svargalokadishu Vishnu Yagesh Varadayomi Bhavatai Vajishta Matsyo Takuramascha Mahavaraha Shiman Shingho Nanuvamanascha Anyevatarascha Tataivatesham Pratyekam Iha Bhidaya Prabhedha Te Satchidananda Ganahi Sarve Nanatvabajo Pisadai Karupaha. Translation. In the Lord's appearances on earth, He shows similar varieties and equality. The Lord's forms are the shelter and the treasure of the earth. Among them are Narayan and Dattatreya and Parashuram, the son of Jamadagni, and Kapila. There are those who playfully assume the appearance of deities, and those, such as Vishnu and Yageshwara, whom you have seen on the Svargaloka and other higher planets. There are such various incarnations as Matsya, Kurma, Mahavaraha, Shiman Nrsimha, and Vamana. Each of these forms of the Lord has his own activities and names, yet all of them are full in eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Though manifesting variety in substance, they are eternally one. Before I read the commentary, we read part of the commentary last time, and I didn't cover everything in that part of the commentary. So I'm going to read just a small part of the commentary that I read last time. We'll speak for a little bit about that small part, although it's small. There's a lot to expand on it. And then we'll continue with the commentary. So this part was already read last time. Just a few sentences. Commentary. Liberated devotees of the Supreme Lord can display varieties of personalities within the basic oneness of spiritual existence because they are empowered by the Lord, who shares with them his inconceivable ability to be simultaneously one and many. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Dena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Hangam Langayate Garim Yakripatamaham Bande Shri Gurundina Taranam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyavari Paschachade Satarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Last time we spoke about the varieties of forms the Lord assumed in different abodes, and we discussed reasons behind those different forms, and we also established that all of those forms are eternal forms, and they have their eternal place, pastimes, entourage in the spiritual world, and nonetheless, they manifest in Vaikuntha, in heavenly planets, on the earthly planet, and they bring with them associates. We gave the example, reading from the Vedanta Sutra commentary by Baladev Vijubhushan, where he gave the analogy about a light being placed in the middle of the room, and depending upon the surface it shines on, it may be perceived differently because of the surface. And gave the example on a marble surface, it is very effulgent, but that same light in the same room may also reflect on a ruby surface, which may be less effulgent, but it has much more attractiveness because of the influence of the color. And this analogy was given about the different manifestations of the Lord, both in Aishvaya and Kevala, and how these different manifestations, although they're not one, but nonetheless they manifest potencies, some more potencies than others, some are fully potent, and we talked about also the different, from Laghu Bhagavatamrita, we talked about how the Lord manifests as the Swayam Rupa, which is the original form, and it's that form of the Lord which is not dependent upon any other form. And then we talked about his Vilas forms, and then we also talked about Avesh, Prakash, these, and they were all giving just different. Most important was that the Lord reveals whatever potencies are required for that particular pastime. And we also talked about how the Lord manifests in the form of the deity. We tell the story in the first part of this section of Bihar Bhagavatamrita of how the Mathura Brahmin came upon Vaishnavas worshipping Lord Madhava, and because he was uninformed, he didn't speak properly in their presence, and therefore one compassionate Vaishnava enlightened him about the position of the deity as being non-different from the eternal Lord in the spiritual world, non-different in the supersoul. And then we also talked about a little bit, we read that reference from the Jaiva Dhamma of how one who worships the deity form of the Lord without the proper understanding will not derive the full benefit of such worship unless they understand that that form is an eternal form, not a temporary form, and not an imaginary form. I'm just recapping our discussion from last class. I'm not going to go back and cover it again. Now, having discussed all that about the Lord, we haven't discussed about his devotees. Because as described here in the very beginning of this commentary, which we didn't cover last time, is that liberated devotees, they also can display varieties of personalities within the basic oneness of spiritual existence, because they are empowered by the Lord, who shares with them his inconceivable ability to be simultaneously one and many. So just as the Lord expands, but is one, similarly, the eternal associates of the Lord in Goloka Vrindavan, they also expand, although they are one. And it is inconceivable, but yet it is partially answered right here that the Lord gives them that potency to do so. And they, of course, have that potency, and by their own desire to serve the Lord, they appear with the Lord in the different realms that he also appears to fulfill different purposes. Some of them display partial features of their persona, eternal persona in Goloka. Some of them, and we're going to read about all of these. I'm only giving a summary, but the point is that good old Narada Muni, he's always enlightening Gopakumara. Whenever Gopakumara requires a deeper understanding according to where he is, Narada Muni is there to deepen his understanding. And he gave him some understanding here in Vaikuntha, but he gave a deeper understanding, or will give a deeper understanding. I guess it could be taken both ways. He gave and will give, depending upon the frame of reference we're speaking from. But he will give a much deeper understanding about these different associates to Gopakumara. And Gopakumara also will give that deeper understanding to the Mathura Brahman in when Gopakumara starts relating to him about Goloka. And so we're going to jump ahead and read some verses and commentaries which really elaborate on how the Lord's eternal associates expand themselves and manifest themselves to serve the Lord's purposes wherever the Lord is. But before I read that, I wanted to read a reference from Vedanta Sutra with Baladeva Vijayabhushan's commentaries on, last time we spoke and gave a very nice analogy about the forms of the Lord. Baladeva Vijayabhushan also gives a verse from the Brahma Sutra And in his commentary, he gives an analogy to explain about the devotees. It's short. I'll read it, discuss it briefly, and then we'll really get into the deeper explanation about the capacity the Lord's eternal associates have to expand. And this is Brahma Sutra again. The sutra is Sarva Bedad Anya Treme Sutra. And the translation, because of complete non-difference, they are in another place. So the sutra is actually explaining about the Lord's expansions are in one place, but they're in another place, but they're non-different. That's essentially the meaning of that sutra. Purport by Srila Baladev Vijayabhushan. Who's translating today? Am I going too fast? Maybe oh, Draupadi Rani's translating. Okay. This is her profession, so I'm not going too fast. Both Lord Hari and his associates are the same persons in both previous and subsequent actions. Why is that? The sutra explains. Sarva Bedad, because of complete non-difference. This means that because there is no difference in their personalities, the same Lord Hari and the same associates present in the previous actions are also present in the subsequent actions. That Lord Hari remains one, even though he expands into many forms, is confirmed in the Gopal Tapani Upanishad in these words. Ekopi san bahuda yo vabhati. Although he is one, the Supreme Lord appears in many forms. Also in the Smriti Shastra it is said, Ekaneka Swarupaya, although he is one, the Supreme Lord appears in many forms. This is also true of the Lord's liberated associates, who remain one even though they appear in many forms. In the Bhuma Vidya Chandogya Upanishad, this is said of the liberated souls. In the Smriti Shastra, this is also said in the description of the Lord's marriage with many princesses and in other pastimes also. In this way, the Lord and the liberated souls can, retaining their identities, expand themselves to be present eternally in different places in time. And he uses an example. The sentence, quote, "It was twice cooked." That's the sentence. It was twice cooked. Is understood by an intelligent person to mean that one thing was cooked twice. Not that two separate foods were separately cooked. In the same way, the sentence, "He called out the word cow twice," means that one cow was addressed twice, not that two cows were addressed. So this is example he's giving. Twice cooked, Same prep. In a sentence, he may say the cow did this, and the cow also, same cow, although it's used twice. Similarly, associate, same associate. Where associate here, associate there, but same associate. Sometimes the associate may be exactly the same. Sometimes the associate may be an expansion. Sometimes the associate may be what Sanatana Goswami calls a counterpart. Not an expansion, but he's the same associate manifested in another place, partially, and we'll describe that. Why partially? Because, especially when they're appearing as a demigod. Example which is most commonly used is Drona and Dara. They were given a benediction by Lord Brahma that by performance of austerities, they were able to have Krishna as their son, Nanda and Yasoda. But this is all explained that Nanda and Yasoda, they're eternal personalities. It's not, they're eternally Krishna's parents. Krishna is eternally their son. So how could Lord Brahma, who also cannot give a benediction which is even greater than he is. He can't give that, just like he couldn't give a benediction to Hiranyakashipu to be immortal, because he wasn't immortal. Similarly, how could he give Drona and Dara a benediction to have the Lord as their son? He didn't have the capacity to do it. And this is all going to be explained by Sanatana Goswami in the deeper explanation about how the Lord's associates manifest in different places to assist the Lord in his pastimes. Some of them are expansions, some expand from Goloka to Vaikuntha, such as like Nanda Maharaj is Sri Nanda in Vaikuntha. He's an eternal associate of Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha. But he's also an eternal associate as Krishna's father in Goloka. So someone may say, how can they both be eternal associates? And then the Lord bestows his capacity to perform inconceivable activities to his eternal associates, so that they may be eternally two places simultaneously. And there are other examples that Sanatana Goswami will give in this further explanation. I didn't finish yet Baladev Vijayabhushan's commentary. He just gave the analogy, twice cooked, and using the word cow twice refers to the same cow. Twice cooked refers to the same preparation. So, in this way, it is said that a wonderful variety of transcendental mellows are manifested by this sequence of eternal events. It is not that these ideas do not have their root in the descriptions of Scripture. I'm going to stop there for now. That's essentially Baladev Vijayabhushan's commentary. Now, I wanted to read from Bihar Bhagavatamrita. This is chapter 6, and we're beginning with text 202. Same volume, to assist our translator. Chapter 6, texts 202, 203. Just as the demigods who have entered the material creation are counterparts of the Lord's Vaikuntha associates, those eternal associates from Vaikuntha are incarnations of the Goloka devotees. May sound technical. I'll do what I can to clarify, especially to understand the difference between counterpart and incarnation. Yet, like the demigods themselves, those very devotees appear on earth now and again for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu when he wants to enjoy various pastimes. Commentary. Some say that many of the Vrajavasis who appeared on earth during Krishna's pastimes 5,000 years ago were incarnations of demigods. Nanda Maharaj, for example, is said to be an avatar of the Vasu named Drona. If taken literally, this idea would rule out the possibility that earthly Vrajavasis are eternal associates of the Supreme Lord. But the truth is just the opposite. I'll explain. For instance, we may hear in the Bhagavatam, Krishna tells the demigods, please descend before me, and I will soon descend, and you will assist me. And then it seems that demigods who are temporarily residing in the material universe are appearing with the Lord to assist them in his pastimes in Mathura and other places when he descends to the material world. Taken that way, if taken literally, the idea would rule out the possibility that the earthly Vrajavasis are eternal associates of the Supreme Lord. So how did the demigods, how did they get to be demigods? And how did they as demigods go to assist the Lord in his eternal pastimes in Gokul? That is a question that we're asking, and it will be answered. As confirmed in scriptures such as the Padma Purana, Uttarakhanda, demigods like Drona are partial expansions of the original Vrajavasis, and those original Vrajavasis accompanied Krishna when he descends to earth. Okay? One example. This one example, and Sanatana Goswami is going to take several examples. Although he's only taking several examples, he's giving these as examples to illustrate that there are many associates, eternal associates of the Lord, who expand. And as avatars, and they are in Vaikuntha or in Ayodhya. For instance, all of Baladeva Vijayabhushan gave the example of all of Krishna's queens in Dwarka. They're expansions of gopis. who are all expansions of their Kaya Vyuha. They're all expansions of Srimati Radharani. So they're expansions of the gopis, but they're eternal associates of the Lord in Dwarka as his queens. And something very interesting, I was just reading today from Lagu Bhagavatamrita. I stumbled on it. But it was very interesting that when Narada Muni was going into the different palaces of Krishna in Dwarka, who was doing different activities with his different queens, he was going in, and the Lord was doing different things at different times of the day. Although it was all the same time, allegedly. But he was doing things at different times. When he walked into one palace, the Lord was doing something in the evening, or walked to another palace, he was doing something in the morning. Walked to another palace, he was doing something in the afternoon. And Rupa Goswami was explaining in Lagu Bhagavatamrita that this is also the nature of the Lord's pastimes, is that the time in the spiritual world, which we've talked about many times, times acts differently in the spiritual world than it does in this world. In this world, it moves in a linear way, but in the spiritual world, it doesn't move in a linear way. But sometimes Rupa Goswami brings out the point is that sometimes in Gokul or in Dwarka here, it takes on linear movements because of being in the material world. But those same activities going on in the spiritual world, there's no linear movements. So Narada Muni would go into one palace and see Krishna doing things at completely different times. And even to use the word day, of course, we've also explained this point many times, that day, evening, dusk, night, these are all just simply terms which are used because these different times simply enhance the Lord's pastimes. But there is no movement of time as we know of it in this world. Anyways, that's something I just happened to read today when I was reading in Lagu Bhagavatamrita. But yet we were simply making the point that the queens, they're expansions of gopis, and they're eternal. They're eternal. So it's not that the gopis expanded as the queens, and the queens were just there, just simply for some time, and then, no, they're eternally, but they're the same personalities in different places to serve the Lord in different ways, but they are one. They are one. Just as we went through all last time in our last class, the Lord is one. Similarly, his eternal associates are one. And he's going to go on and explain more detail. I've only touched on it. There's much more detail coming up in this commentary. So, Goparaj Nanda and other devotees in Goloka expand as avatars in Vaikuntha to become Sri Nanda and other associates of Lord Narayan. The same devotees thus enjoy pastimes in two worlds simultaneously, Goloka and Vaikuntha. And so, it would be incorrect to assert that because the Vaikuntha associates of Narayan Our avatars, they are not eternal. Right? Just as we already explained that the avatars of the Lord, when they descend, they have their eternal abodes. Same thing for the eternal associates. Just because they descend, it's not like, okay, they appeared just simply, they're just temporary person. No, the eternal personalities. Continuing. The same associates of Lord Narayan, first they expand as avatars into Vaikuntha, and then the same associates of Lord Narayan expand again into the material world to become demigods. This verse calls those demigods pratirupa, counterparts, rather than avatars. Where's my phone? I looked up the definition of counterparts today in the dictionary. Just a counterpart. A person or thing holding a position or performing a function that corresponds to that of another person or thing in another place. That's a counterpart. A person holding a position or performing a function that corresponds to that of another person in another place. It's a counterpart. So Sanatana Goswami uses the word counterpart, and he uses that for a reason. This will be explained. Because the demigods are materially conditioned living beings. Still, those demigods are empowered representatives of the Supreme Lord's personal associates. In the next few verses, Sri Sarupa will describe the incarnations of the Goloka Vasis as parallel to Krishna's incarnations. That is, just as Krishna's avatars are non-different from him, the earthly associates of Krishna are non-different from the original Goloka Vasis. Alternatively, the word pratirupa, or counterpart, or representative, can be taken as synonymous with the word avatar. Then the idea implied is that the associates of the Lord in Vaikuntha, who expand from the original Goloka Vasis, are like direct reflections, pratibimba, of those Goloka Vasis. And the further expansions as demigods are like shadows, pratichaya. I'll explain. Both a reflection and a shadow follow a person as expansions. But the shadow represents him less fully than does his mirror image. Okay? Actually, this word pratibimba is, Bhaktivinoda Thakur oftentimes gives this, utilizes this also, as pratibimba namabhas and chaya namabhas. Pratibimba being the reflection, chaya means the shadow. Both reflection and the shadow are connected. They have a connection with the original object. In the same way, the pratibimba is reflection of the Goloka Vasis, and they further expand as demigods. They are like shadows, pratichaya. Why? Because demigods don't fully display all the qualities as the avatars do. Not only that, they have different features. For instance, Drona and Dara, as we already said, Drona and Dara, they were demigods. But they were actually pratichaya. They were expansions of Sri Nanda and Yasoda in Vaikuntha. And then they expanded as demigods as Drona and Dara. But then they got the benediction by performance of austerities. They wanted to get a benediction to worship, or to have, the Supreme Lord as their son. And if we read in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th chapter, Lord Brahma says to them, let it be so. He gave the benediction. But why did he give the benediction? He gave the benediction only to certify, so to speak, that that's what happened to Drona and Dara. That they became Nanda and Yasoda. Why? Because Nanda and Yasoda, they already descended from Goloka as eternal associates to assist Krishna in his pastimes. And Drona and Dara, who were their expansions or pratichaya in the heavenly planets, they merged. They descended from the heavenly planets and they merged into the body of Nanda and Yasoda. Because Nanda and Yasoda are always Krishna's parents eternally. There's no question that Drona and Dara became Krishna's parents. But Lord Brahma didn't actually give the benediction, but he simply said, let it be, to certify, yes, that's what happened to Drona and Dara. They got Krishna as their son because they performed austerities. And of course, as demigods, they showed by that example that it's not an easy thing to get the Supreme Lord as one son, perform austerities. And then they merged into the bodies of Nanda and Yasoda, who had already descended as eternal associates of the Lord in Goloka, because sometimes, and this is also another inconceivable aspect of the Lord, sometimes those eternal associates come completely full in of themselves, just as Krishna comes. Krishna says, I come in my original transcendental form. In the same way, but he still never leaves Goloka. Doesn't leave Goloka. We talked about how the different expansions of the Lord, they leave Vaikuntha, they leave the heavenly planets, and they go with Krishna to enter into the body of Krishna. But Krishna doesn't leave Goloka. Krishna comes in his original form. In the same way, sometimes his eternal associates, they come in their original forms. Sometimes they come as avatars. But it's not that they leave Goloka. Understand it? It's difficult to understand. But this is all just simply what I'm just introducing to you what is coming up in the further verses that we're reading from now. Inconceivable. Just like sometimes we know, for instance, there are some associates of the Lord. We've given examples before. Just like Rupa Goswami, his Sarak Sarir, he's an eternal associate of Lord Chaitanya in the spiritual world. But he's also an eternal associate of Srimati Radharani He's Rupa Manjari, also in the spiritual world. Simultaneously, relishing. His Sadhaka Sarira is in eternal form. Raghunath Das Goswami. His Sadhaka Sarira, his eternal form, is Raghunath Das Goswami, an eternal associate of Lord Chaitanya in the spiritual world, in Svetadvip. But he's also Rati Manjari, Tulsi Manjari, in the spiritual world. How to understand? Sometimes we even read in the Gora Ganadashtapika how sometimes some devotees, they manifest in a personality can have two personalities in him. I think that's said of Haridas Thakur. He had it was one personality, and another personality also came in him, yet he was the one personality, Haridas Thakur. Inconceivable, but that's the power. These are all just simply explanations to what we just read in the first verse, that because they are empowered by the Lord who shares with them his inconceivable ability to be simultaneously one and many. So somehow, when we talk about the Lord doing it, we can accept it. It's just inconceivable. But when we talk about the Lord's associates doing it, it becomes a little bit more inconceivable. If we can try to understand inconceivable, more inconceivable. But nonetheless, as we've always maintained, that one of the qualifications for obtaining the mercy of the Lord is to accept his inconceivable potencies. If we don't accept his inconceivable potencies, and then we'll have a very difficult time understanding anything about the Lord. But if we accept that he has inconceivable potencies, then when the time is appropriate, these inconceivable potencies will reveal themselves to us at the appropriate time. That's the exact same thing that Gopakumara is telling the Mathura Brahmin. Exact same thing. He's saying, I'm telling you about all of these inconceivable things here in Vaikuntha, but when the time is appropriate, you'll understand. When the time is appropriate, you'll be able to understand. But now, the Mathura Brahmin is just very eagerly and faithfully drinking. Drinking. It's an intoxicating beverage. Just like I was reading, I don't know if I'll get to it, but I was reading today because one of the different expansions of the Lord, or incarnations of the Lord, was Matsya. So I was reading about the different incarnations of the Lord as Matsya. One incarnation, Matsya came to save the Vedas, and another incarnation, he came to satisfy Satyavrata Muni. And that whole description in the 8th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, how he came before Satyavrata Muni in his hand. Satyavrata Muni was holding him in his hand, and the fish said to him, and he put him back in the water. He said, why are you putting me back in the water? Don't you know it's dangerous to put me back in the water? Can't you put me someplace else? So Satyavrata, no, he was a king actually. He was a king. And he felt the need to give him protection. So he took the fish and he put him in a jar. And then, because now he was no longer in the water and he felt he was protected, and then very soon he became too big for the jar. He took the fish out of the jar, and he said, please, can you put me, and then he put him in another place. He put him in a river, and then he got too big, and then he put him in a lake, and then he became too big, and he put him in another body of water that was bigger than the lake, and then he became too big, and he put him in the ocean. And finally, at some point, he said, now, who are you? And then the Lord revealed to him who he was and why he came before Satyavata. He came before him because very soon the whole universe was, in 7 days, the universe was going to be inundated with water. And at the time of the inundation with water, then when the water was filling up, he asked Satyavata to take a boat and to collect all the seeds and many of the sages and all the herbs and put it into the boat. And then he said he would come, and you take Vasuki and you tie Vasuki to the horn. I will appear in this huge form, and this huge form as a fish was 800 million miles? 800 million miles long or something like that? I think it was 800 million. It was many millions miles. And then he revealed and he spoke. He revealed the depth of Vedic wisdom to Satyavata, who heard all of the Vedic wisdom from him. And then at the end of the chapter it describes that anyone who hears this pastime of Matsya faithfully, of his appearance in this world, anyone who hears faithfully, he will go back to Godhead. So, and I mean, we hear this so many times in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Vrindavan Das Thakur gives this benediction in so many different places that anyone who simply faithfully hears this pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just with faith, some inconceivable pastime, then certainly he will become an associate of Lord Chaitanya. Or so many different benedictions he gives for those who just faithfully hear. Same thing happened to the Mathura Brahmin. What was his qualification? He simply sat and he heard all of these inconceivable narrations from Gopakumar, and his qualification was, after everything was told to him, because he heard everything with complete faith. Complete faith. He just accepted it. Then that was his qualification. He was able to get the mercy, not only of Sarup, but the mercy of Srimati Radharani, who sent Sarup. And then Sarup placed his hand on his head, bestowed his mercy on him. Everything was revealed. And that's what Gopakumar said to him. When the time is right, what you've understood now is just small. When the time is right, everything will be understood. Why? Because by the inconceivable potencies of the Lord, when that inconceivable potency of the Lord is manifest to that devotee, then what happens? The Lord reveals. Atapi de deva padam bhujadvaya prasadalisanagoyita evahi. That unless one gets that drop of mercy from Krishna's lotus feet, he'll never be able to understand the greatness of his personality. Mercy. So, such is the inconceivable descriptions we've discussed already of the Lord's manifestations, and now we're discussing the inconceivable manifestations of his eternal associates. And we'll continue reading. I want to just finish this section. We won't get to the next part of the commentary. We'll just finish this section from chapter 6, Bihar Bhagavatamrita. So, where was I? We were talking about pratibimba and pratichaya. Both a reflection and a shadow follow a person as expansions, but the shadow represents him less fully than does his mirror image. Easy analogy to understand. The shadow it's moving with the object, but much less fully the object than the reflection. So, thus, if Nanda Maharaj on earth is called an avatar of Drona, it is only because both of them are avatars of Nanda Maharaj in Goloka, and Drona is only a partial expansion. But by worldly calculations, demigods are considered relatively superior to humans. Oh, this is another. I'm not going to explain this. It'll just confuse things. I'll just read it. But by worldly calculations, demigods are considered relatively superior to humans. So Nanda on earth is considered Drona's incarnation. Thus it is said that demigods like Vasudrona descend to earth to assist Lord Vishnu, the younger brother of Indra, in his enjoyment. Now, just as Lord Vishnu's incarnations appear only briefly in the material world, but periodically reappear, the Lord's associates only briefly in one universe. But as we know, they're all always manifest in some universe. Just as Lord Vishnu's incarnations appear only briefly in the material world, but periodically reappear, the Lord's associates who manifest themselves as demigods also incarnate as earthly avatars whenever there is a need. For example, Sri Nanda Goparaj, the eternal beloved father of Krishna in Goloka, appears in Vaikuntha as the eternal associate of Narayan called Nanda. And he also occasionally descends to earth in his original identity. So too, Sri Balaram, who originally resides in Goloka, manifests himself in Vaikuntha as the eternal associate named Shesha, yet he appears among the demigods as the bearer of the earth in the seventh Patala region, and he sometimes comes to earth as the selfsame Balaram. Actually, this is also described, Laghu Bhagavatamrita. Shesha takes on different forms to serve the Lord, such as his sacred thread, his bedstead. These are all different expansions of Shesha. But he is also, as is described here, that he appears among the demigods as the bearer of the earth in the seventh Patala region. This is a Sakyavesh avatar. It's a Sakyavesh avatar, a Shesha, who is holding up. And it is actually, Rupa Goswami states very clearly in the Laghu Bhagavatamrita that it is an empowered jiva. So he appears amongst the demigods as the bearer of the earth in the seventh Patala region, and he sometimes comes to earth as the self-same Balaram. Krishna's friend Sridham in Goloka appears as Garuda in two different forms. One, an eternal associate of the Lord in Vaikuntha, and the other, a son of Vinata among the demigods. Just like we've many times described how Garuda came when Krishna was lying down unconscious in Dwarka, how he came and he carried Krishna and Balaram on his back to Nava Vrindavan. So he is there eternally in Vaikuntha. But he's coming, is an expansion of Sridham, who's manifest eternally in both places. So, and then another expansion of Vinata among the demigods. And occasionally he appears on earth as the original Sridham. Krishna's parents in Goloka, Sri Vasudeva and Devaki, appear as Sutapa and Prishni in Vaikuntha. Kashyapa and Aditi in Svarga. And sometimes in their original forms as Vasudeva and Devaki on earth. The avatars of other devotees follow the same pattern, which is essentially stating that these are just examples. Many other devotees follow the same pattern. The demigods who descended to assist the Lord, many of them were expansions or counterparts of eternal associates in Goloka, or avatars, expansions in Vaikuntha, who manifest as counterparts in the material world, and then they expanded, or they descended to Mathura, which the avatars are eternal avatars in Vaikuntha, or the original personalities in Goloka. Those demigods went and assisted the Lord. Inconceivable. Although the word here is used sometimes. I'm not going to elaborate because I'm just going to accept that sometimes they do, and sometimes they may be demigods. Because the word sometimes is used. Next verse. And just as the incarnations of Krishna, this is Sarup speaking to the Mathura Brahman. Just as the incarnations of Krishna, the source of all incarnations, are non-different from him, the incarnations of the Golokavasis, the residents of Goloka, are non-different from them. It's a short commentary, but we've already pretty much covered it. Next verse. The Golokavasis are born sometimes as partial expansions, and sometimes as their full selves. Like Krishna, they vary their appearance for the time, place, and need. Sometimes they come in their original forms from Goloka. Sometimes they have different forms. They appear completely different, look completely different than their eternal forms when they are the Pratachaya counterparts of demigods in the heavenly planets. Commentary. There's just one or two more verses, and then we'll be done with this explanation. Commentary. In this verse, The verb jayante, they are born, is equivalent to pratura bhavanti, they become visible, and avataranti, they descend. Whenever and wherever there is a need for a full or partial incarnation of a particular devotee, that same devotee reveals either his whole self or a partial expansion of himself. Or, in other words, he's either a counterpart or a counter whole. His counterpart or a counter whole. The example of Krishna and his expansions is cited to clarify this point. In previous ages, Krishna manifested various partial forms of himself in this world. In Satya Yuga, for example, Lord Varaha descended from the Shalkarapuri of Vaikuntha for such purposes as lifting the earth from the lower regions. And at the end of Dwapara Yuga, the same Krishna descended to Sri Mathura Mandala in his full form to display special blissful pastimes that would broadcast his loving devotional service all over the universe. Text 206. Thus, Krishna's companions, impelled by their own moods of loving exchange, right? Try to understand. Just as Krishna, compelled by his own mood of loving reciprocation, manifests different forms in different places, or just as the one light manifests differently according to the object it reflects upon. Same example is given, just as the Lord manifests according to the moods of those who desire that mood of Him. The same way, Krishna's companions, impelled by their own moods of loving exchange, from time to time, they want to descend somewhere with the Lord. And we've said this many times before also, when we talked about how some of the intimate associates of the Lord, one of the characteristics of the intimate associates of the Lord in Vaikuntha is that they get to go with the Lord. With some of the newcomers, they don't get, we were reading that section later. They don't get there. The newcomers don't get, but the intimate ones, the Lord selects them. Okay, you can come and take part. And because they want to satisfy the Lord's desire for variety when He descends, by their particular mood of loving exchange, from time to time, they want to descend somewhere with their Lord. Next verse. When devotees who live with Krishna in Goloka appear to merge on some pretext into their own expanded incarnations, this is just like the merging of Krishna's expansions with Him. When sages tell us, therefore, that expansions of Krishna's associates descend to become the original associates, what they mean is that the expansions merge into the originals. I already explained this. I'm not going to go into it again. It's not that Drona and Dara descended as Nanda and Jasoda. No, they were already an expansion, a counterpart, and then they got the opportunity to have Krishna as their son because they, as the expansion of Sri Nanda and Jasoda, they merged into Nanda and Jasoda, who manifested in Gokul. They merged. into their bodies. Text 209, all this and everything else about Goloka, please try to understand in this way without doubt or confusion. Comprehend it according to the philosophical conclusions taught by Narada, as spoken of before. And then there's another commentary I won't read, but simply it's expanding on this, that now Sarupa is telling the Mathura Brahman who are these eternal personalities in Goloka and how they lovingly assist. Because now, at this point of the discussion, he's Sarupa speaking to the Mathura Brahman about Goloka, and he's talking about his associates. So, this is all an expanded explanation given by Srila Sanatana Goswami of this short section of today's verse, which I'll read one more time. Liberated devotees of the Supreme Lord can display varieties of personalities within the basic oneness of spiritual existence because they are empowered by the Lord, who shares with them his inconceivable ability to be simultaneously one and many. Anyways, this is the description which has been given. I choose to read it. I chose to read it because obviously it's been given and it's helpful when we continue on our journey. It will be helpful to deal with more of the inconceivable nature of the Lord's pastimes and his eternal associates. And you really get a sense, I guess I can say I really get a sense from so many places I've referred to and places I didn't even refer to, but state the same point again and again. That when one has awakened to faith and hearing these transcendental narrations, I oftentimes quote the verse from the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, 20th chapter. Krishna, having awakened faith in the narrations of my activities and pastimes, knowing that all sense gratification leads to suffering, being disgusted with sense gratification, and knowing that it is disgusting, but still being unable to give it up. If my devotee simply goes on hearing these transcendental narrations, relishing them, hearing them with faith, then what does Krishna say? He says that he becomes purified. He'll someday be able to relish it, and he becomes purified. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains it's in Bhakti Loka, Sri Bhakti Loka. He quotes this verse from the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, And he says that this verse, Jata Shadu Matkatasu, this verse is the beginning of bhakti. Bhakti begins from this verse. When a devotee has awakened his faith to hear, even though he can't give up sense gratification, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also, as I explained before, describes sense gratification as that he can't give up his attachment to Vedic rituals, which is also a form of sense gratification. Because, and he also explains in that commentary, he says, he gives it in a very balanced perspective. He explains that when a devotee's faith in hearing outweighs his attachment to sense gratification, it may still be there. He may still have some attachment to Vedic rituals, still may have some attachment to sense gratification. He says, but when it outweighs, when it's more prominent than his attachment to sense gratification. And the symptom that it's more prominent is that despite the fact that one is addicted or attached to enjoying either various Vedic rituals, enjoying mental speculation, enjoying other forms of bhukti, mukti, siddhi. We oftentimes quote that verse, Krishna bhakti nishkama atayeva shanta, bhukti, mukti, siddhi kami, sakali ashanta, that the bhuktis, the muktis, and the siddhis, they're still kami, they still have some desires. But if they have faith to go on hearing these transcendental narrations, then if it outweighs his quote-unquote faith in bhukti, mukti, and siddhi, then it will act. It will act. And that is the point that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur makes when he gives his commentary to that verse. And as we said, Bhaktivinoda Thakur quotes that verse in Sri Bhakti Aloka and states that that verse is the evidence that bhakti begins when a person has awakened faith to hear such transcendental narrations. That is his adhikar. That is his qualification for pure bhakti. He's awakened faith in hearing pure bhakti. And everything else in due course of time will be revealed to those who maintain faith to go on hearing. And not only that, but as Rupa Goswami says, that the name, form, qualities, and pastimes, which are all transcendentally potent, they're all sweet like sugar candy. But if one who's afflicted by the jaundice of vidya, just as he cannot taste anything sweet, but if he carefully goes on hearing about the form, qualities, pastimes, and the glories of the holy name, then what happens? Then the natural relish begins to awaken. And the taste becomes restored to its original taste, just as sugar is naturally sweet, but it's bitter for somebody who's afflicted by the jaundice of avidya. Same. Simply by hearing with faith. And then what happens? A natural relish is gradually awakened, and the disease becomes destroyed at the root. Such is the potency. Shinvatasva kata Krishna punyashavana kirtana hridantyasto hyabadani vidunoti suhitsvitam. Or Nastapayusha abhajeshu nityam bhagavata seviya. As also explained, by regularly hearing. Then what happens? All that is troublesome to heart becomes practically destroyed. And loving devotional service becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, in reference to these verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam, he explains in Madhurya Kandambani that these verses are the border between anishtata bhakti and nishtata bhakti. Anishtata bhakti means unsteady. But if one simply goes on hearing regularly, right, then what happens? Krishna helps from within the heart, simply by regularly hearing, and then gradually all that is troublesome is destroyed. And then what happens? He continues to hear, but gradually with some taste and some relish, then he comes to the platform of nishtata bhakti. Simply by hearing. It comes from anishtata to nishtata. Same process. Same point is made in the verse also in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that, what is that verse? We quote it so often. That Shradharati Bhaktir Anukamishati. Krishna, how does it begin? Shradharati Bhaktir Anukamishati. Krishna, when the transcendental sound enters into the ear, it goes to the heart. Hridantya sto hyabadani. No, what is the verse? I know the verse. Verse is Krishna situated within everyone's heart. And from him comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. I quote the verse so many times, but it's gone. But anyways, that verse explains that Shradharatir Bhaktir Anukamishati, that when one goes on hearing the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he enters into the ear, goes to the heart, and then real devotion and devotional service can begin. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains also in his commentary to that verse that this is evidence that from Shraddha Ratir Bhakti Anukamishati, from Shraddha to pure bhakti, to prema. At every stage, hearing is most important. Then what happens? That hearing will gradually awaken. Ditya Siddha Krishna Prema Sajjaka Bunoi Shravanadi Sutta Chete Kore Udoi. Pure love for Krishna is eternally situated within the heart of every living being. It doesn't come from any other source. But when one hears, then what happens? One hears properly, that natural love awakens within the heart. All is there in such transit. Satam prasangam, yes. Thank you. Satam prasangam mamavirya sambado bhavanti hritkana risayana kata taj joshanadashva pavagavatmani shradharatir bhaktiranu. Yes. In the association of devotees, attraction to the pastimes, hearing the pastimes of the Supreme Lord becomes very pleasing to the ear and into the heart. We already explained the verse. Satam prasangam mamavirya sambado. All right. I've spoken long enough. We'll chant some japa, and we'll end here. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Siddhi Gaura Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hari Hari, Hari Rama, Rama Rama, Hari Hari, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. There's one other very important point. Very important point. Do I have translator? I hope she's still there. Yes? Yes, okay. Very important point is the whole topic we've just been discussing about how eternal associates expand in different forms and sometimes the same forms to fulfill different purposes. We have to understand who gave Gopal mantra to the Mathura Brahmin. It was the goddess Kamakya. Who's the goddess Kamakya? It's the expansion of Srimati Radharani. She gave Gopal mantra to the Mathura Brahmin in a dream. Now, who sent Sarup? And how does Sarup send? Srimati Radharani sent Sarup to go. And how does Sarup appear? Sarup appeared in the same form he always had. He appeared in his cowherd boy form with his flute that accompanied him everywhere he went, to Svargaloka, to Vaikuntha, to Goloka. And as we said before, Sarup left because Srimati Radharani asked him to go. So he went down and he appeared in that form, same form. And as Sanatana Goswami explained, that because he understood that whatever Radharani wants is so pleasing to Krishna, even though I won't be there to play with Krishna, because I'm doing what Radharani asked me to do, Krishna will be pleased. So he came, and then in his descriptions, he also explains how he came to realize that whether he was in Goloka or Gokul, wherever he was, and wherever the associates are, for them, it's the same. It's the same. Of course, there are some differences we've talked about, but they're the same personalities. They don't change. The same personalities. And it just so happens that Sarup descended, Radharani sent, she gave through the goddess Kamakya, she gave the Gopal mantra, the Mathura Brahmin, she sends Sarup. And his whole explanation about how these different forms appear to fulfill different purposes, to reciprocate in different ways, and how they're all one also explains himself to the Mathura Brahmin. And also explains much more about the associates, and of course about the Mathura Brahmin, who will become Janashama, and of course everything becomes revealed in due course of time. So anyways, I just wanted to add that one point, which I felt was relevant because it's very connected to Sarup, Gopakumar, the goddess Kamakya, Srimati Radharani, and and how they manifest. But the same person? Same person. They are one, but many. Okay. I tell you, unlimited. It's not just simply unlimited. We'll end here, and next class will be Monday for North America, and for Russian-speaking devotees, it's tomorrow at 10 o'clock India time. And I don't think I have any announcements, except I'm sure everybody knows by now. It seems like Japa Maharaj is fine. He sent a message, to his god brothers, thanking those of us who contacted him, and then he said, "You never know what will happen," but he seemed to be indicate I'm better, and of course, he's giving classes, and he's still the unstoppable, has not been stopped by anything. And even while he was taking his treatment, and I don't know if I mentioned it, when I called him and spoke to him, one of the things he was encouraging me to do is to take the Bhakti Vaibhava course. He says, I'm doing it now. I'm taking while I'm taking my treatment, I'm taking Bhakti Vaibhava course online. He says you could take it online. He says verbally. He didn't, not by writing. He was just taking the tests, and it was encouraging me to do it. Anyways, my dandavats to his feet, and and he was specifically wrote thanking all the devotees, and he was thanking me for asking all the devotees to pray for him. And I can't remember if I mentioned it or not, but this was a recent message, so I thought I should make that. Share that message with all of you. So, we will end here. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Siddhi Gaura Bhaktivinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki.